So, on behalf of Mufahamja College of Engineering Technology and IQAC MJCET, sir, we extend a hearty welcome to you and thank you for accepting our invite to be the session speaker. And we'll definitely enrich from your session. Now, I request Dr. Ishrat Mirzana to just brief your profile before you take over, sir.
Good morning, sir. It's an indeed privilege for me to read out your profile, sir, because it's a long profile. I'm making it very short because we want to hear much more from you, sir. So, V Appa Rao, sir, has done both master's and doctoral programs in chemistry at Banaras Hindu University in the years 1972 and 1977, respectively. He was a postdoctoral fellow at the Central Electrochemical Research Institute. He has over 47 years of teaching and research experience and has taught several courses at BTech, BSc, MSc, and MTech levels. He has produced 21 PhDs under his guidance. His research areas include electrochemistry, corrosion science, nanofilms for corrosion protection, and has over 127 research publications to his credit, and is associated with 9 major projects. Among them is a pedagogy research project sponsored by IIT Kharagpur under NMEICT. He won many awards for his contributions to new knowledge in the field of corrosion science. Notable among them are the Corrosion Awareness Award by NACE International India section in the year 2003. He is a fellow of Society for Advancement of Electrochemical Science and Technology and a fellow of Telangana Academy of Sciences. He has experience of 20 years in different capacities, from Dean, Research and Consultancy to the founding professor in charge, Central Instrumentation Facility, etc. Sir has been be a resource person for about more than 100 workshops, conferences, FDPs on various topics. Many of them are related to the theme of pedagogy. He has trained so far about 10,000 faculty members from several colleges and universities across the country. He has been associated with Central University of Karnataka as a consultant on outcome-based education. He was associated with IIIT Hyderabad as a consultant accreditations for the years till 31st May 2023. Under his guidance as consultant, IIIT Hyderabad was awarded A++ grade by NAC. So we look forward that our college also gets that A++, sir, from your guidance. Thank you, sir. Professor Appa Rao, sir, is recognized by UGC as a resource person in the Malviya mission to train teachers in higher education across the country, and is currently engaged in delivering lectures on the theme, namely holistic and disciplinary education and student diversity and inclusive education, outcome-based education, and modern pedagogic practices. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. Over to you, sir.
You can share your PPT, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, friends. It's my pleasure to share a few of my experiences with all of you, distinguished faculty from the Mufahamja College of Engineering and Technology, a great institution with NAC A+ grade, and also accredited, many programs accredited by NBA, and had 45 years of experience, and it's a one of the reputed institutions in the country. At the outset, I thank Dr. Manija, one of the coordinators of this program and another coordinator of this program, and also co-coordinator IQAC of the college, for having invited me to deliver a lecture on learning outcomes-based active learning strategies. Still, the participants, some more participants are joining. See, when we talk about outcome-based education, it has 3 important components. One is curriculum design in outcome-based format. Then you have outcome-based active learning strategies. You also have outcome-based assessment strategies. So to some extent, outcome-based curriculum design is taken care of by many engineering colleges. But still, we are following the same old lecture method. Still, we are following the same old assessment strategies. We are following the same question paper pattern. And many colleges find it difficult to map course outcomes with program outcomes, to calculate the attainment of course outcomes and program outcomes. Right? With this brief introduction to outcome-based education, still some participants are joining. Right? So now I shall deliver my lecture with the help of a PowerPoint presentation on the subject outcome-based active learning strategies. Are you able to see my slides, sir? Are you able to see my slide, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are able
My
to see.
voice is audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I am changing the slide. The changed slide is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are in the new paradigm of higher education, that is outcome-based paradigm. This is outcome-based teaching, learning, and assessment. This is activity-based. Activities carried out by students. Teacher plans the activities by involving the students. Teacher facilitates implementation of activities, guides, motivates, and inspires the students during the learning process. It is student-centered teaching and learning process, not teacher-centered, student-centered. Student-centered education takes into account the need to know and develop the whole personality of the learner. It's not giving a lecture and leaving the hall. By guiding, by counseling, by mentoring the students once in a week, the teacher has to know and develop the whole personality of the learner. That is important. Enhance and facilitate learning. Foster critical and sustainable thinking. Promote experiential learning. Emphasize learning through active participation. Promote collaboration and teamwork. All these are very, very important, sir. It's not enough if you design the curriculum. You have to provide significant learning experiences to the students inside the classroom and outside the classroom once in a week, every week. There should be a home assignment. Cope's learning cycle, very important, sir. Students must be provided, wherever possible, concrete experiences. Based on the concrete experience, there will be reflection, reflective learning. When I say reflection, it means serious thinking about experience, deeply involved about experiences, thinking about experiences. That is important. That is reflection. Based on the reflection, there is conceptualization about that particular topic. Based on the conceptualization, the student will apply the concept to a new context. That is called active experimentation. Applying to a new context is active experimentation. Based on applying to the new concept, to the new context, the students will gain new experience, new concrete experience. Based on the new concrete experience, again reflection. Again, either the concept may become reinforced, or the concept may be slightly changed, or the concept may be totally changed because of the new experience. And this concept will again be subjected to the active experimentation, applying to the unknown context. Again, concrete experience, and the cycle goes on. Knowledge is unlimited. The learning cycle goes on. It is the responsibility of the institute and the faculty members to provide the learning experiences to all the students to undergo the COPE's learning cycle. That is important. Why focus teaching on the learner? Because we have diverse learners in our classrooms. This cartoon representation indicates diverse learners in the classrooms. Tortoise represents the slow learners. Hare represents the medium-paced learners. Deer represents the fast learners. That is one reference, one reflection. Another reflection, they have their unique styles. They have their different social, economic, and cultural backgrounds that can also be understood by this cartoon representation. They have their own learning styles. That is important. Learning styles are different from each student to the other student. Some students are sensory learners, but some students are intuitive learners. Without the use of senses also they are able to learn, but very few in the classroom. Most of the students are sensory learners. Some students are visual learners. When you use the visual aids, they learn better. Some students are auditory learners. They can understand by listening to your lecture. Some students learn better by physical activities, kinesthetic learners. Some students learn when you use the inductive method. Inductive method means from specifics to generalizations. You allow the students, involve the students in the discussion. Ask them to give their own examples. Ask them to give their own experiences. Inductive method is participatory learning. Whereas deductive method, you go on explaining step by step. So most of the abstract method topics, you generally use the inductive method. Otherwise, in most of the occasions, I used to use inductive method, participatory learning from the students. Some students are active learners. They respond to your questions immediately. But some students are reflective learners. They take time. They think about deeply and then answer very correctly. So you have both active learners and reflective learners in your classrooms. So when you ask questions to some students, you must give enough time for their reflection, for their thinking. You should not immediately pass on to the question to other student. Give time. That is important. It's a common mistake. We ask the students and expect the answers immediately. No, you should give time to them. There are reflective learners in your classrooms. Your classroom is full of diversity. Then some students are sequential learners. When you explain step by step, they will be able to answer. they will be able to understand the subject. Some students are global learners. They can connect with different disciplines of knowledge very easily. They can connect with different concepts which you have explained. What I used to do is I follow the sequential approach, explain step by step so that all the students understand, because most of the students are sequential learners. Then 1 hour after completing the one topic, 1 hour, I used to link different concepts of that particular topic so that the students also learn how to link different concepts. Different disciplines of knowledge. The students also should become multidisciplinary learners, interdisciplinary learners. So globally also you have to revise at the end of every unit. You have to show the students the interconnectedness. That is important. Approaches to learning, pace of intellectual development, socio-economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds are different. So when you give examples, you have to consider the different cultural backgrounds, rural background, urban background, and then pace of intellectual development. All those aspects you have to consider when you implement the teaching strategies. So this is the reference, a very good article, which I have studied in 2008. It was published in 2005. NIT Warangal got the internet connectivity in 2006. And I happened to study this article in 2008 because I was asked to give a lecture on student-centered teaching learning strategies. Then learn from the learner. Please reflect upon this, sir. All of you, please reflect upon this. Reflection, when I say reflect upon this, means think about it. Try to relate to your own teaching learning experiences. Try to relate. Think deeply. Right? Then, when you think deeply, connect to your own teaching career, you will be able to internalize the meaning, the real meaning of it. Internalize is important. Not listening to my lecture. Right? Listening, reflecting upon, internalizing, making your own. That is important. Otherwise, there is no meaning of these lectures. Then you have to implement. Without your theme of the seminar itself, from awareness to action. Action is important. I read it for you. Learn from the learner. Instruction begins when you, the teacher, learn from the learner. Put yourself in his place so that you may understand what he learns and the way he understands it. Dear friends, when I started my teaching career in 1978 on January 2nd, I thought I should emulate some of my great teachers. But after 1 month, I understood, no, that is not the way. I have to understand my students, how they follow my lecture. Are they able to understand my lecture? Based on I used to take the every class feedback. Based on the feedback, I used to reorient my teaching learning strategies. So this quotation, I started implementing in 1978 itself throughout. I got this quotation only 4 or 5 years ago. But I have been implementing it. Right? But based on my experience, as I implemented it, my students are well connected with me. Even today, 47 years ago, students are connected with me even today because I implemented this. Anderson's revised Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive levels of learning, related verb forms. You start with remember, the lowest level, then understand, next higher level, then apply, next higher level, then analyze, next higher level, then evaluate, next higher level, then create, next higher level. So based on the cognitive levels, all your theory courses you have written the course outcomes. So depending upon the levels of the course outcomes, you have to implement your teaching learning strategies. That is outcome-based teaching learning strategies. That is the meaning. You have written course learning outcomes. Based on that, you have to write the unit level learning outcomes also and develop a unit level teaching plan. And all your teaching learning strategies in every class must be outcome-based teaching learning strategies. Please note this point. In order to facilitate the learning outcomes among the students, as per the course outcomes, we must learn three things. These three things are the most important ones, sir. One, subject knowledge. Mastery of subject knowledge. What do we mean by mastery of subject knowledge? Is it remembering the entire thing that is given in the prescribed textbook? No. When I say mastery of subject knowledge, you should reach create level in the courses which you teach in terms of Bloom's taxonomy. That is the meaning of mastery of subject knowledge. Not remembering things, applying things, analyzing things, evaluate things, create new knowledge. That is mastery of knowledge, sir. Then pedagogy, appropriate teaching methods, very important, sir. All of you must have training in pedagogy. Right? Very often I observe most of the faculty imitate their best teachers. No, that is wrong. You have to get training by undergoing various online FDPs on pedagogy. I have undergone FDPs even after my retirement. 12-week FDP conducted by IIT Bombay at the age of 65 I underwent. I learned a lot. I was organizing workshops, FDPs, but I was also sitting in the classes of a few resource persons, external resource persons. I was a coordinator, I was also a participant. So this learning is continuous. And I have been disseminating whatever knowledge I have learned through experience, disseminating especially to the young faculty members. Then integrating ICT in teaching learning strategies, very important. Online assessment tools, integrate. You can save a lot of time. You will have also the analytics, whether how many course outcomes are achieved by the students, how many are not achieved by the students. Accordingly, you conduct the remedial classes. Accordingly, you organize the tutorial classes. Tutorial classes are very, very important in every course, sir. Then appropriate videos, 4 to 5 minutes videos, 10 minutes videos as home assignments, right? So that is how subject knowledge mastery, appropriate teaching methods, that is pedagogy, training, thorough training, and thorough training on integrating ICT in teaching and learning. All these are important for justifying in the teaching profession. See, dear friends, course learning outcomes, student-centered teaching learning strategies, you map with course learning outcomes. Then you also map your assessment strategies, formative assessment as well as summative assessment. Then you have unit learning outcomes. You have to draft unit level learning outcomes. Then based on that, student-centered teaching learning strategies. Then formative and summative assessment. Then subunit, a small topic covered within about 2 to 3 hours. Then student-centered teaching learning strategies. Then assessment strategies. This triangle, you should remember always, you should be conscious always. Only then you are justifying to outcome-based education. It is necessary that unit level learning outcomes, ULOs, have to be prepared by the teacher in line with the course outcomes. Based on the ULOs, the teaching and assessment strategies have to be planned. Mapping of teaching strategies and assessment questions to each of the unit level learning outcomes is necessary. Outcome-based education demands active learning by students based on activities carried out by the students. We must understand, therefore, what is actually active learning. Active learning is a buzzword today all over the world. I have understood various active learning strategies about 8 years ago. Since then, I have been propagating active learning strategies in all the disciplines of learning. What is the definition of active learning? Any instructional method that engages students in the learning process. In short, active learning requires students to do meaningful learning activities. Please note, meaningful learning activities based on your course outcomes or unit level learning outcomes. And think about what they are doing, not mechanically doing the learning activities. Reflect about what they are doing. Think deeply about what they are doing. That is active learning. This is the reference from which I have got this best definition. It is necessary that students listen to your lectures with great attention. It is necessary. But listening to lecture is not active learning strategy. Students also must write the running notes in the classroom as they listen to your lecture. But writing notes is not the active learning strategy. Please note that. Only when the students participate in activities inside the classroom and outside the classroom in the form of home assignments, that is considered as active learning strategy. Therefore, in every class, you must provide opportunities for activities for the students. Please reflect upon this. By John Holt, a great educational psychologist by John Holt, learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of activity of learners. It does not mean we do not teach. We have to teach. But when we teach, we organize several activities to be carried out by the students. That is important. That is the meaning of this quotation by great educational psychologist John Holt. Learning is not the product. If you just simply deliver the lecture and leave the hall, learning takes place to a limited extent, and many of the students will not listen to you also. Learning is the product of activity of learners. Every class, there should be some kind of activity in the classroom, either in the form of group discussion, question answer session, doing the problem analysis, all that. Please reflect upon this. The learning pyramid. See, if you use only lecture method, the average retention rate is only 5%. If you use audiovisual aids, the average retention rate is 20%. If you demonstrate an experiment or a working model, the retention rate is 30%. If you organize group discussion, the retention rate is 50%. If you organize learning by doing activities, either in the laboratory or in the classroom, learning by doing activities, the retention rate is 75%. When you organize student seminars, teach others means student seminars, or immediate use of learning, For example, artificial intelligence. We want the students who are experts in artificial intelligence. We want the students who are experts in machine learning. We want the students who are experts in structural engineering. We want the students who are experts in Internet of Things. We want the students who are experts in VLSI design. Suppose you organize at the beginning of third year itself, right, or second year itself, branch specific. After completing this branch of engineering, what are the opportunities by the employing organizations? What are the skill set need? Then accordingly, the students will make special effort to improve upon those skills. Then the average retention rate is 90%. So you have to, lecturing method cannot be avoided. You have to use lecture method. It can't be avoided. But along with the lecturing method, you use either audio-visual or demonstration experiment. One of the two. One of the two. That is for motivation. To connect your students to the subject. To connect your students to you as the teacher. Audio-visual aids or demonstration experiment. Then you organize one of the two, either group discussion activity or learning by practice by doing activity. Only one of the two. Because all strategies cannot be carried out in every classroom. Lecturing method is compulsory. Lecturing is compulsory. Along with lecture, either audio-visual aid or demonstration experiment, and group discussion or practice by doing one of the activities, then you can improve the retention rate to the extent of 75%. Then you give home assignments, every week home assignment, unknown problems. Some of the active learning strategies, learning by doing, learning through discussion among the peer group, learning through case studies, learning through group projects, learning through field studies. It is not problem-oriented, process-oriented guided inquiry learning, POGIL. Please make the correction here. Not problem-oriented, process-oriented guided inquiry learning, POGIL. Then experiential learning, then reflective learning, then 1 minute paper during the classroom interaction. I'll explain what is this 1 minute paper. All these methods I shall explain in detail in my lecture. First of all, what is this 1 minute paper? When you start giving the lecture, you inform the students if they have any doubts, any clarifications, they can note on a paper. Then at the end of 15-20 minutes, one of the class representatives can collect those papers and then give to the teacher. And the common clarifications, common questions can be clarified by the teacher by explaining by another method. Because you have already used a method, students could not understand, you use a different method. Always go to the class with more than one method of teaching. Okay. So all the other methods I shall explain in my lecture. Whatever I have cited here, I shall explain in my lecture. And for many methods, the videos are available in my channel. Collecting questions in a question bowl taken around the class. Questions, please. And discussion on those questions. Open-ended questions by the teacher. Open-ended questions from the students. Right? So, preparation of question bank by students at various cognitive levels. All these, whatever I have mentioned, are the active learning strategies. Whatever I have mentioned, some of the active learning strategies. You don't have to implement every strategy in every class, right? So please go through this slide and reflect upon it. You are not going to use all these strategies, but at least one strategy in every class you must use. Accordingly, you have plan and accordingly you can use it. So I have my own YouTube channel for dissemination of knowledge. The channel name is Professor space BV space Appa space Rao. Appa, after Appa also there is space Rao. Learning outcomes based active learning strategies, part 1, part 2. Socratic method of teaching and learning, teacher student relationship, experiential learning, reflective learning, all less than 15 minutes videos. Then case study as active learning strategy can be used in all subjects: science, engineering, social sciences, and management. For higher learning, at higher cognitive levels. Examples of case studies for active learning of the topic corrosion. I used to teach corrosion science as an open elective. All the branches, there are 8 branches of engineering, all branches of engineering students, they used to register for my course. 60 students in my course, 4th year. I used to explain the principles and concepts of corrosion. After explaining the principles, I used to organize case study analysis group wise. When I make groups, medium place learner and fast learner, mixed groups, always I used to, without branding them. Without branding the students, very cleverly I used to make, right? So these are the case studies. I used to make them analyze. I don't explain. I explain only principles and concepts. I guide them in the process. I guide them. They will be analyzing ultimately. Bhopal gas tragedy, Visakhapatnam oil refinery pipeline explosion, petroleum pipeline catching fire in East Godavari district of AP, corrosion problem in swimming pool, corrosion problems in bridges, ships, building structures in the form of real-time photographs. Teaching and learning of geotechnical engineering can be made more interesting with the use of field visits to construction projects and case studies. This is the reference from which I have got. So geotechnical investigation at site, instead of doing the work in the lab, you take them to the field work, right? They can learn many interpersonal skills. They can learn collaboration and teamwork, right? So, and the concepts which will be much more clear to them. Then case study of failure of pile foundation. See schematic presentation of failure of a building in Shanghai in China because of the clayey soil. They dug up the soil and put the soil on the other side of the building. Ultimately, view of the building after failure because of the bad geotechnical engineering practices. Let them analyze the case studies. Let them understand what are the bad geotechnical engineering practices. It's an example. Such case studies can be used in all the subjects. It's only because I cannot discuss within 2 hours examples from all the disciplines. Learning through case studies of great relevance in academic programs related to law and management studies also. Then process-oriented guided inquiry learning. It's a strategy which begins with introducing students to a model or diagram or problem or a set of data. You introduce the students to a model or a diagram or a problem or a set of data. Then you ask them as a team of 3 members to answer a series of questions beneath that model or diagram or problem, 3 or 4 questions. That leads to development of a concept or principle, that is guided inquiry. The Pogel strategy is based on the idea that learning has two components, content and process. The ability to develop deep understanding of a concept and the ability to apply that knowledge to solve novel problems. That is the process component, which is the critical skill. That is very, very important. So the Pogel strategy, through Pogel strategy, you can see that the students become active learners, problem solvers, collaborators, and communicators with high level thinking skills. Then, learning through experience by a great educational psychologist, John Dewey. John Dewey defined the educational process as a continual, please note this word continual, sir, continual reorganization, reconstruction, and transformation of experience. Students have to be provided with great learning experiences inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Based on that experience, students will organize on a continuous basis, reconstruct and transformation of experience into learning. It is this natural form of learning from experience by doing and then reflecting on what happened, which Dewey made central in his approach to learning. Right? Experience and reflective thinking about experience lead to learning, according to John Dewey. John Dewey advocated for an educational structure that strikes a balance between delivering knowledge and the interests and the experiences of the student. That is important, sir. You always try to understand the student's interests and experiences. Based on that, using those experiences, those interests, you deliver the knowledge. Then John Dewey's learning approach, educational implications. The following teaching learning methods have been evolved by John Dewey's learning approach. All these are important for you, sir. Problem-based learning, project-based learning. All these are active learning strategies, outcome-based active learning strategies. Learning through hands-on experience, learning through overall learning experiences inside and outside the classroom. The teaching learning methods based on John Dewey's approach promote the following skills and attitudes among the students and teachers: critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, open-mindedness in learning, comprehensive knowledge, learning in all the three domains, namely cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains, self-learning, and continuous learning. All the above skills are included in the graduate attributes mentioned by the National Board of Accreditation. National Educational Policy 2020 stressed the importance of all the above skills in higher education. Those skills can be achieved by the students only when John Dewey's method is implemented. Please reflect upon this quotation, sir. It's a great quotation. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. This is a great quotation that every teacher must remember throughout his career. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. What does it mean, sir? Actually, most of the faculty members do this. I have seen, even in NIT Warangal. They used to keep the notes, teaching notes for several years, use the same notes, same methodology. They never bothered about the students. Whereas, every year, I used to destroy deliberately the teaching notes, except some data, except some models, except teaching aids. Because during the past 1 year, I have gained more knowledge. I have gained deeper insight into my course during the past 1 year. During the past 1 year, I have gained one more experience in pedagogy also, because I have been continuously learning about the subject and also pedagogical approaches. Third point, the students of the current batch are different, necessarily different from the students of the earlier batches, last batch. Therefore, we have to understand this batch of students and accordingly plan our teaching learning strategies and assessment strategies. So for every batch, we have to use fresh strategies. Then you will enjoy teaching. Please remember this point. Only then you will enjoy teaching. If you use the same notes which you are a mechanical teacher. You are not a creative teacher. You are not a dynamic teacher. Teacher has to be dynamic in the classroom. Teacher has to be creative in the classroom. Teacher has to be spontaneous in the classroom. So please remember this quotation throughout your career. Then experiential learning by Carl Rogers, he has added his own viewpoints. There is experiential learning by John Dewey also, but Carl Rogers added some new points for that. He says students learn through experience by the actions of discovery and exploration. There is role of discovery and exploration. Experiential learning elicits student-centered learning experiences. In that, students develop communication skills, gain self-confidence, and strengthen overall decision-making skills in order to solve and respond to real-world problems. In utilizing experiential learning approach, the teacher acts as the facilitator and guides rather than directs the students in the process of learning. Directing means do this way, you will get the result. Solve this problem this way. Analyze this case studies this way. That is directing. Guiding means giving the hints. Let the student find out the way of solving. Let the student find out the ways of doing a project, a major project or a mini project. Let the students analyze the case study. You give only guidance. Please note this point, sir. The teacher must choose a learning experience that will cater students' interests. At the same time, the teacher must also choose a learning experience that challenges the students through problem solving, cooperation, collaboration, self-discovery, and self-reflection. This will allow students to experiment and discover solutions on their own. Then the teacher must decide what the students will learn or gain from the learning experience. Very important. In every class, I used to tell my students, either you challenge me or I challenge you. This should happen in every class. The teacher must also map the learning experiences with course learning outcomes. Then project-based learning. You always try to use, especially in undergraduate programs, group projects, whether it is major project or mini project. Group projects. Of course, in PG programs, individual projects. So when you use group projects, please use jigsaw project method. Please remember this. Jigsaw project method. This method splits into mixed groups. Three in a group. Mixed groups. What are the mixed groups? One slow learner, one medium-paced learner, one fast learner, without branding anybody. Cleverly, you have to make the mixed groups to work on small problems or mini projects. There may be 3 students in a group. The teacher has to design the group projects in such a way that the project has 3 different tasks. Each student in the group chooses one task after discussion among the group. Each student performs his or her task. There may be discussion among the group and peer learning is encouraged. The slow learner may ask to complete his task. He may have some doubts. He can ask the medium paced learner or the fast learner. Peer learning is encouraged. But you are not telling them the way. You may also guide, but not direct. After all the three students complete their task, the outcomes of each task are integrated to result in the outcome of the project. Please use jigsaw project method that yields good results. Then you have Socratic method of teaching and learning, another active learning strategy. The oldest and still most effective teaching strategy for fostering critical thinking is Socratic method of teaching learning, active learning strategy. Here, teachers focus on giving questions to students, but not answers. Teachers will not give answers. Students have to find out the answers by themselves among the discussions, all that. Here, teachers model themselves an inquiring and probing mind which continuously probes into the subject with questions. The abilities which we gain by focusing on reasoning in a disciplined and self-assessing way, and the logical relationships that result from such disciplined thought prepare us for Socratic questioning. Socratic questioning is a highly disciplined process. The Socratic questioner acts as the logical equivalent of the inner critical voice which the mind develops when it develops critical thinking abilities. A Socratic questioner should keep the discussion focused. It should not go astray, focused. Keep the discussion intellectually responsible. Stimulate the discussion with probing questions. Periodically summarize what has and what has not been dealt with and or resolved. Draw as many students as possible into discussion. Then inquiry-based learning. It's a pedagogical method developed during the discovery learning movement. Philosophy of inquiry learning finds its roots in Socratic method. Inquiry can be conducted through exploration because inquiry values the same concepts like engaging with the content in questioning as well as investigating. Characteristics of inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning involves developing questions, making observations, developing methods for experiments, developing instruments for data collection, collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data, outlining the possible explanations and conclusions, still with an open mind and investigate further. That open-mindedness is the basis for continuous learning. Inquiry-based learning can be done in multiple formats, which include fieldwork, laboratory experiments, case studies, investigations, individual and group projects, research projects. Then you have another very important pedagogy called critical pedagogy. Critical pedagogy. It has 5 components. Critical pedagogy nurtures critical thinking among the students. That is the first component. Critical pedagogy also brings cultural relevance. When you give examples, when you give case studies, they should be of cultural relevance because your classrooms are with diverse cultures, right? So don't give examples of monoculture, diverse cultures. Then participatory action research. It involves, I used to do participatory action research when I taught the MSc course, MSc Analytical Chemistry course, right? So I used to explain by one method and then similar concept I used to explain by another method. Active learning strategy. I used to take back the feedback from the students. Which method promotes active learning of the students? They used to say, sir, your second method promotes active learning. Please use that method. Please involve us in every step. So we should participate, right? In a 60 minutes class, we should participate at least for 30 minutes in the discussion. Please use that method, sir. Then I used to use that method. So on a continuous basis, I used to do participatory action research, which helped me to reach out to a majority of my students. I handled 60 students class, 80 students class also. Then it also must involve social justice. Critical pedagogy must lead to social justice. Very important, sir. You have students from different social strata, from different socio-economic backgrounds. The examples you give, all that, the discussions you involve, all must lead to social justice. They should not belong to a particular group of society, right? So social justice is important. You have to deal with diverse learners in your classrooms. You have to deal with different socio-economic students in the classroom. So your critical pedagogy must be conscious of social justice. And above all, this critical pedagogy must lead to transformative learning. Transformative learning, when I say students with positive attitudes, students with positive values, students with universal human values, students will contribute, the graduates coming out of the colleges contribute in a very positive way to the development of the society in which they are living. That is transformative learning. This critical pedagogy is very important, sir. Learning through discussion. Think, group, share activity, TGS activity. Unknown problem on a topic in the given course is to be given by the teacher. Higher cognitive levels, apply and above. Think, group, share activity, you can implement once in 3 classes. Right? Group discussion activity. It is very popular. Many participants who attended my classes, they are implementing and they have given good feedback. Designing the problem or question needs special effort. In engineering college, there should not be any problem for that. Yours is an engineering college. You can always design excellent problems. Think phase. Suggested duration is 3 to 4 minutes. Teacher's activity. Teacher will pose the above problem and ask every student to think and analyze the problem. Student's activity. Every student thinks, analyzes the problem and notes down in his notebook his analysis briefly. Then group phase. Suggested duration is 5 to 6 minutes. Teacher's activity. Teacher will ask the students to group up. 3 students in a group, not more than 3 students. To group up and exchange their ideas. And finally write their analysis of the problem and also the possible solution. Students discuss in groups and each group writes the analysis of the problem and the possible solution. Share phase. Teacher asks each group to present the solutions, each group of 3 students. He facilitates discussion and leads the students towards deep learning. Students ask challenging questions, come out with original ideas, and lead the entire class towards deep learning. At the end of this strategy, teacher and students experience that new knowledge is constructed in the classroom by the students. This is what is called constructivist approach. Teacher plays the role of motivator and facilitator towards deep learning. Then several new problems, real-world problems may be given as group assignments to be done at home. Teacher has to inform the students in advance that only when the students are involved in solving the problems and learn the subject at higher cognitive levels, they will be able to perform well in the end semester and mid-semester exams, achieve a better grade, and get a suitable job after BTech. This is very, very important. What I used to do was that always unknown. There, in every class, there will be some problems that have to be solved by the student. Once in a week, I give unknown problems at home, unknown context. Unless they think, they cannot work out. I used to tell the students, unless you do independently, you cannot answer my questions in the examinations. You have to do independently. Because in the examinations, I shall give unknown context. Only those who do independently the assignments will do well in my tests. So always unknown, unknown, unknown. Again, end semester examination, unknown context. So we have to take them always to the unknown. That is very important, sir. This is just-in-time teaching method, JIT method. We implement a particular method, get feedback from warm-up questions from the students, or in the form of a quiz using a online tool, 5-6 minutes. Then students give we can get the feedback from the students. Based on the feedback, the teacher adjusts his lecture, modifies his lecture based on the feedback. This is necessary in most of the classes. Smartboard, which is an interactive whiteboard, most important tool for active learning in digital classrooms. Videos, PPTs, discussion, and interaction can be integrated. I've used Smartboard for demonstrating all the participants when I organized offline FDPs at NIT Warangal. I've organized so many, around 60 FDPs at NIT Warangal, offline. So in every FDP, I used to demonstrate the Smartboard, the capabilities of Smartboard, how best it can be used. And the participants were allowed to freely use the Smartboard after my demonstration. Every day evening after the program is over, the Smartboard room is kept open till 9:30, 10 o'clock in the night. They are free to use. So that practice is important. So we can record in the Smartboard, we can record the lessons also. The record along with the classroom interaction. So due to genuine reasons, if any student is absent, he can go through the recorded lesson. There will be no knowledge gap. Smartboard and Wi-Fi connectivity together can make a complete digital classroom, which facilitates active learning. Smartboard consists of touch-sensitive whiteboard, computer, software, and LCD projector. However, it is still not cost-effective for use in all classrooms in many institutions in India. Ours is not a very rich country, and the fees we collect also is not very high when compared to other countries. And other operational and management problems of smart boards also. If a few scratches are made by chance, right, on the touch sensitive whiteboard, that is gone. You have to purchase a new one with software. So that costs around 70 to 80,000 rupees minimum, right? Or even more. Right? So therefore, once the smart boards, computers, and projectors become cost effective, use of complete digital classrooms will be a reality in large number of institutions. Still, it is only a tool of learning. It is only the dedicated and committed teachers who plan using it meticulously to facilitate active learning among students at higher cognitive levels. Open educational resources. You see, my dear friends, when you have to implement outcome-based active learning strategies in your particular course, there are so many great teachers in the world. In the world, in the best universities in the world, the universities which have within the rank within first 200 universities, you have the best teachers. And the best teachers are providing so many examples of problems for assignments, so many methods, teaching methods for a particular course, learning notes, assignments, video lectures. They are available in the form of open educational resources. You don't have to purchase anything. You don't have to spend even a single pie. Open educational resources, a great revolution towards quality education in the world. I have made use of so many open educational resources. India can be a great beneficiary of OER. Wide propagation of the use of OER is the need of hour. Because when you implement outcome-based active learning strategies, for example, in VLSI design course, there are great teachers who have used certain methods. You can learn from such great teachers. Implement appropriately those methods in your classrooms. You need not reinvent. You can also discover your own methods. But there is nothing wrong in getting the best experiences of the world before you. I was greatly benefited by having read various articles in the form of open educational resources. I was greatly benefited. These are 5 arts of open educational resources: reuse, revise, remix, redistribute, retain. I shall explain with a better font. Reuse. Use the content in a wide range of ways. Example, in a class, in a study group, on a website, in a video. Freely use. Only give acknowledgement. That's all. You don't have to pay anything. Revise. Adopt, adjust, modify, or alter the content itself, or translate the content into another language. You can use it. Remix. Combine the original or revised content with other OER to create something new. You can create a new video by having one clip from one video, another clip from another video, third clip. You can create a new video. Use it in your classroom. Redistribute. Share copies of the original content, your revisions or your remixes with others. Give a copy of the content to the students. Retain. Make, own, and control copies of the content. Download, duplicate, store. Right. Freely. Only thing is you have to give the acknowledgement. That's all. When you use in your lecture. A few sources of open educational resources: OER, MIT OCW, John Hopkins OCW, Tufts OCW, OpenLearn UKOU, OER RCA, Open Education Europa, Yale Open Courses, DOAB, DOAJ, Images, NPTEL is of India. Spoken Tutorial IIT Bombay is also from India. Open Education Consortium, OER Consortium, OER Commons, Open Access Textbooks, Open Textbooks BC Campus, Open Textbooks University of Minnesota, Open Textbooks Sunny, Open Tax College. See, there are great open textbooks. Because they are free, don't think that they are of substandard. They are of great standard. Only thing is the English language, whether your students can be able to cope up with the English language, that you please examine. Then you can prescribe at least as the reference book. Because they are free. They are the best books available. Open educational resources in India. NPTEL courses, all of you by now must be knowing about NPTEL courses. Video lectures for different courses by professors from IITs and IISc Bangalore. Then you also have lecture notes for different courses. These video lectures and lecture notes can be used by the teacher appropriately in the related courses. You know very well, I have used in teaching corrosion the lecture notes of Professor Natarajan of IISc Bangalore. Right? NPTEL online courses. This is the website developed by faculty members from IIT Madras, IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, IIT Guwahati, IIT Roorkee, and IISc Bangalore. Then you also have SWAYAM courses. SWAYAM means study webs of active learning. Study webs of active learning. They have used the word active learning, you see here. For young aspiring minds, it is the program of MHRD, Government of India. It's an indigenous IT platform in India that facilitates posting of all the courses taught in classrooms from 9th class to post-graduation to be accessed by anyone, anywhere, at any time. All the courses are interactive, prepared by the best teachers in the country, and are available free of cost to the residents in India. More than 1,000 specially chosen faculty and teachers from across the country have participated in preparing these SWAYAM courses. The courses hosted in SWAYAM are in 4 quadrants. This is an excellent way of presentation of SWAYAM courses. 4 quadrants. In the first quadrant, you have a video lecture in the first quadrant. The students can listen to the video lecture. In the second quadrant, specially prepared reading material that can be downloaded and printed. Right. Students can also read this reading material several times. They can watch the video lecture several times. After doing this, they can appear for the self-assessment test. If they do well in the self-assessment test, that means they have understood the subject. If they do not do well in the self-assessment test, they can watch the video lecture again. They can study the specially prepared reading material again. Again, they can appear for the self-assessment test. That's how anytime, anywhere, they can self-paced, very important, self-paced. They can organize their learning. And above all, it also has, very important, an online discussion forum for clearing the doubts. Suppose 1,000 students have registered for a particular course. Then somebody may post a question in the discussion forum online. Somebody else may answer. Based on that, somebody else may ask another question. There may be some challenging questions which nobody will be able to answer. Then the teacher will have to answer such questions. So teacher also will not be able to answer. Then teacher will take time, refer to various books or discuss with colleagues and answer such questions. So in-depth knowledge, deep insight is possible through the online discussion forum. SWAYAM courses are the best courses because there is a 3-stage screening process before SWAYAM courses are finalized. Right? And the videos also of the best quality. So even UGC has given allowance for some credits that can be earned by SWAYAM, and those credits are added into their CGPA or SGPA. Otherwise also, for certain courses, you can advise, you can teach the course, you can also advise the students to register for SWAYAM course. They can be supplementary. SWAYAM Prabha is a group of 32 DTH channels devoted to telecasting of high quality educational programs on 24/7 basis using GSAT 15 satellite. This is the website of SWAYAM Prabha. This PPT I have already shared with the organizers. They will share with all of you after my lecture is delivered. You keep the PPT with you. For any more clarifications, watch my videos. You can equip yourselves with pedagogy. I'm sure. The home page gives us list of channels among which we can choose the channels related to our course. Channels 1 to 10, video lectures developed by Consortium of Educational Communication of UGC for some subjects. For science and humanities, they will be more useful. Channels 11 to 18 and 30, they will be useful for engineering courses. Video lectures developed by NPTEL for some subjects. Channel 29 also will be useful. Video lectures developed by Quality Enhancement in Engineering Education Program of IIT Madras. So 11 to 18, 29 and 30 will be useful for all engineering courses. Right. So YouTube, again, recommended videos, YouTube channel name, recommended videos, open educational resources and Creative Commons licensing, part 1. Part 2, open educational resources in India. Special tools for differently abled students must be made available in the classrooms and hostels in order to enable them to learn effectively without any disadvantage. In all the active learning strategies implemented by the teachers, that environment must be created by the institutions. I'm very happy to share that such kind of environment is very much available in University of Hyderabad for blind students. I'm very happy to mention that one blind girl of MBA got first rank in competition with other abled students, first rank, because of the encouragement given, because of the facilities provided in HC. However, teachers should not be, can be seen in the quote by H.G. Ginot, a great teacher. This quote has to be remembered by every one of us. I read this quote and you can reflect upon this also. Blaming and shaming, preaching and moralizing, ordering and bossing, admonishing and accusing, ridiculing and belittling, threatening and bribing, diagnosing and prognosing. These techniques brutalize, vulgarize, and dehumanize children. Please reflect upon this. As teachers, we should never use these techniques. So somebody has asked in one of the workshops just a few days before, sir, you are mentioned, this quotation mentions even preaching and moralizing also should not be used. What is the wrong with it? So you are preaching and moralizing, but you are behaving exactly opposite way. Then will it have positive effect or negative effect? It has negative effect. On the other hand, you model yourself as teacher. You model yourself as a punctual teacher, well-prepared teacher, impartial teacher, teacher respecting the students, mutual respect. As a teacher who does not use these techniques at all, you model yourself as teacher. When you model yourself, that will have a very positive effect, positive impact in the affective domain of the student, in the emotional domain of the student. So then that will have a positive impact on their attitudes and values. They will be better individuals later. That is important. Modeling yourself as the best individual is more important than preaching and moralizing. And don't use any of these techniques. Right? Throughout my career, I have never used any of these techniques. Empathetic relationship with students, very important, sir. Empathetic relationship with students and effective communication with them are very important attributes of a teacher. And they have an impact on the affective domain of learning. Affective domain means related to emotions, interests, attitudes, beliefs, etc. That is what is called affective domain. Empathetic relationship and effective communication. Effective communication involves clarity of thought, connectedness with the students, understanding your students, connectedness with the students, clarity of thought, command on the language, command on the subject, mastery of the subject. All these are the factors that contribute to effective communication. Very important, sir. This is by great social psychologist Carl Rogers. Man's inability to communicate is a result of his failure to listen effectively. We always tell the students, listen to me, listen to me. It is also important that the teachers listen to the students. It is also important that the teacher listens to other teachers. It is also important that the principal listens to the teachers. Principal listens to the students. There should not be any kind of authority between the principal and the student, teachers. Principal should treat the teachers with mutual dignity and respect. After all, they are all colleagues. Principal is only the coordinator. There should not be any kind of authority between the teacher and students. When you have authority, you will not listen to them. When you do not have authority, you have empathetic relationship, then you listen to others. That is important. We think we listen, but very rarely do we listen with real understanding, true empathy. Yet, listening of this very special kind is one of the most potent forces for change that I know, Carl Rogers. Then I am providing with unit level teaching plan format, right? In order to implement outcome-based active learning strategies, I have prepared based on the discussions with the participants in the offline workshops, offline FDPs. I have finalized this unit teaching plan and shared in so many workshops. Syllabus of the unit, learning outcomes of the unit. You are provided with the course outcomes, but you have to prepare learning outcomes by yourselves. In my channel, I have given the guidelines to formulate the course learning outcomes of any unit or a course. You can go to my channel, follow guidelines I have mentioned. You can use those guidelines and prepare learning outcomes of a unit. Teaching learning resources, textbook if any, and reference book, details, authors, publication, edition, year, page numbers. Teaching aids and demonstration experiments. Handouts on the name of the topic. You can mention the name of the topic and keep the handout ready. Lecture notes on the name of the topic. Keep the lecture notes ready. Video lecture with associated assignments. Topic, reference details. If you have taken video lecture from open educational resources, you take the link, give the link and give assignment questions. Watch this video and answer these questions. Like that you have to mention. If you don't give questions, assignment questions, they will not watch the video lecture, the students. Right? Only videos with entertainment they will watch. Videos with learning they will not watch unless you give the assignment. Ask them to submit the assignment, which carries some weightage. PPT only with animations, with flowcharts, with the diagrams, with the models, only such PPT is allowed. Verbal PPT is not allowed. That is not correct. Don't use verbal PPT. Only with animations, flowcharts, PPTs, diagrams, models, etc. Such kind of topic reference details, keep that PPT ready with you to be given to the students. Printed material of the related NPTEL course. Keep it ready in your plan. You can distribute to the students. Swayam course reference. You ask the students to register for that particular Swayam course reference. But in your plan, you should have Swayam course reference. Swayam Prabha channel with date as reference. Some videos are in the form of archives. So you can suggest the students with the date. In fact, you ask them, you give them the link, they will search for Swayam course or Swayam Prabha. You please take the best use of your students as assistants. There will be some students in every class who would like to cooperate with the teacher, who would like to do any assignment given by the teachers. At least in a class of 60 students, there will be 6 students, minimum 10%. Those students, you use them as your assistants in getting all this information. Right? Free and open source software, name and reference of the website. Any others not listed above. All these are what are called teaching, learning resources. Right? The pedagogy, everything you can get. Then classroom activities and problems mapped with each learning outcomes. Unit level learning outcomes. As many as possible. Activity, problem in detail, learning outcome. Activity, problem in detail, learning outcome. Right? This is for hands-on session. I used to organize hands-on sessions also. For that, I have made at least one activity because within that time, they cannot do more. As many as possible. Classroom activities. As many as possible for you. Home assignment problems and questions mapped with each learning outcome of the unit. List as many different problems and theory questions covering all the learning outcomes and the entire syllabus of the unit, not subunit, of the unit, and map each question with the learning outcome of the unit. Formative assessment quiz to be conducted in the class. Flickrs or any other suitable and less expensive tool, even Google quiz, may be used for conducting quiz consisting of multiple choice questions or other short answer questions. Question 1 mapped with learning outcome. Everything, assignment, questions, problems, always map with learning outcome of that particular unit. As many questions as teacher thinks appropriate for formative assessment. At least once in 3 classes, you should conduct formative assessment quiz in the classroom. That is the minimum. Some teachers want to conduct every class, welcome. Fine, but every class means not more than 5 minutes. Then class session teaching plan. Whatever I have provided earlier was the unit test teaching plan. This is class session teaching plan, 1 hour or 1 period. So list of concepts or teaching items to be taught in the class session, you mention, not more than one concept or one teaching item in a particular class. So don't enter the class and directly start teaching. As soon as you enter, many teachers start teaching the class. No. Students first, they should get connected with you and with the subject. Therefore, first 5 minutes, it is called motivation phase. Questions to students on the previous class session and brief review, 1 or 2 questions and brief review of what has been learned in the earlier class. Learning outcomes of the present class session, there won't be more than 2 learning outcomes in the present class, mostly 1 learning outcome. Interesting examples, applications, anecdotes, videos, 2 to 3 minutes videos related to the content of the present class session, right? This is motivation phase, 5 to 6 minutes, not more than that. Then lesson development phase, concept or teaching item, list teaching aids, demonstration experiment if any, examples, analogies, etc. that will be used and relevant teaching learning resources. Concept 1, teaching item 1 or concept 2 to teaching item 2. List all the teaching aids, demonstration experiments, examples, analogies that will be used for every concept. Explanation phase, explanation of concepts with examples, teaching aids, analogies, new derivations, etc. in an interactive manner. Let the entire class be an interactive class. If it is an offline session, I would have demonstrated how interactive a class can be. Because I am in Warangal, I could not make it. If I was in Hyderabad, I would have preferred to have the offline session. Questions by teacher, questions by students, reflections by students, etc. Active learning phase, activities to be done by the students. Classroom problems, analyzing case study, etc. Discussion on solving a problem, think paid share activity, think group share activity, questions by students. That is active learning phase. In every class, recapitulation or summing up phase, summary of what has been taught, bullet forms, you can write in the blackboard or whiteboard, bullet points, 3 or 4 points. Then formative assessment may not be in every class, but must be done after completion of every subunit, every 3 classes. To conclude, because I want to give sufficient time for question answer session also, a teacher who facilitates outcome-based learning and active learning among students becomes an active learner herself or himself. She or he experiences grains of discoveries in many projects. She or he mentors generations of students who can become innovators, entrepreneurs, leaders, administrators, and above all, great teachers. My tributes are to such great teachers. I wish that all of you become such great teachers in course of time. Now it is time for question answer session. All your questions, not only on outcome my session, on any topic of your choice, you are welcome. On any topic, you can ask me questions.
If there are any questions, please come over here so that you can ask the speaker.
You can take the microphone. Through microphone, you can ask the questions or like that.
Sir, how does we map this learning outcomes to course outcomes?
Yeah.
Because we have every unit different learning outcomes.
Yes.
But ultimately for assessment, it is the course outcomes and PO's mapping is the one which is there.
Yeah. It's a very good question. You have already for every unit level learning outcomes?
We have not yet framed because we are affiliated to another. but this session has enlightened us.
Once you have the unit level learning outcomes, you can always map every unit learning outcome with a course learning outcome, with one of the course learning outcomes. That is how you can plan unit level learning outcomes, not more than 4 or 5. Don't plan many unit learning outcomes. 4 unit learning outcomes are good enough. You can map each unit learning outcome. Maybe if your syllabus is divided into 5 units and you have 5 course outcomes, maybe the first unit learning outcomes may be mapped with the first course outcome, most likely. That is how you can map with the course outcome. Okay. And then how to map course outcomes with program outcomes. That is a big challenge, and most of the faculty are not aware of that. Right? For that, please make use of course outcomes and also your active learning strategies and also your assessment strategies. All you have to take into consideration while mapping course outcomes with program outcomes. For example, communication skills. You will not have communication skills in your course outcomes, but in your teaching learning strategies, your assessment strategies, students improve upon course outcomes. Therefore, for communication skills, if you implement active learning strategies and continuous and comprehensive assessment, you can give 3 out of 3. If you implement projects, you can give 3 out of 3 for self-learning and lifelong learning, for collaboration and teamwork. If you give group project, critical thinking and problem solving, for all those, you can put 3 in the box. So course outcomes plus teaching learning strategies plus assessment strategies, all to be taken into consideration. My suggestion to your college is, your college has NAC A+ grade and accreditation by NBA. My suggestion, immediate suggestion is, you please go for autonomy. You must become autonomous college. You see, the latest guidelines for autonomous colleges is you will have more autonomy. Not like that. So far, autonomous colleges also do not have real autonomy. It is not like that in coming times. UGC has given latest guidelines. Autonomous colleges can frame their own curriculum. They will get funding also from UGC or AICT, and they can have their own assessment. They can give degrees. They can also award their own degrees. There is no dependence on the university. That is the order of the day. Your college, I am surprised to see that your college is an affiliated college. It deserves very much to be an autonomous college, whereby, you see, outcome-based education, if you want to really implement, it should be an autonomous college. Otherwise, you teach excellently, you teach all outcome-based, but the external examiner does not know what is outcome-based. He gives the traditional question paper. Ultimately, students are in trouble. So in outcome-based education, teacher is everything. There should be full autonomy for the teacher. That means in teaching, in continuous assessment, comprehensive assessment, 100% assessment must be done by the teacher only. That is the main characteristic of outcome-based education. Right? So then most of your problems will be solved. But as long as you are affiliated college, this outcome-based implementation is a big challenge for you. There will be many questions which are unresolved. See, I have a complaint from many autonomous colleges. They have prepared the curriculum, syllabus, course outcomes, but the university says, no, your syllabus is of higher standard, it is not acceptable. What is this? University syllabus is of substandard, whereas autonomous colleges syllabus is of higher standard, right? So, but all such problems are gone with the latest UGC guidelines for autonomous colleges, right? So please watch my video on mapping of outcomes with program outcomes. Mapping of course outcomes with program outcomes. I have not given the link here, but if you go to the YouTube, and there is a web series. My series is there, web series in my channel. There are 38 videos. In those 38 videos, you can go scroll down, then you can find out the video on mapping of course outcomes with program outcomes. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I have specially, I always keep 30 minutes for question answer session because your questions are of great value to me.
Any questions?
Sir, we have with us our Dean Academics and the coordinator of IQAC MJCT, sir,
Yeah.
Professor Hamraj.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would insight.
Please,
Sir.
please.
Sir, very good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Professor Amraj. I'm in academics here.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear your session today. Really, we enlightened all our participants with a good kind of exposure for this CO, PO, and PSO mappings. And they were actually having some sort of issues related to this. Some clarifications were missing all these days.
Yeah.
And in your session, really, they got very good catch hold on these particular aspects.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for your session today with us, sir. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we shall be in touch with you in future correspondence for all sorts of your help in this regard, sir. And especially as you said, that COs are related to unit-wise, that's also a good kind of information for everyone.
Yeah.
So we are having such a difficulty. As you said, the 5 COs related to 5 units. And in addition to that, that unit-wise COs, whatever we are preparing, that needs to be matched ultimately with the CO scenario. So that's really ultimate touch for us, sir. So nice of you. Thank you so much. We shall be in touch with each other, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hamraj, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions, please?
I have scheduled 25 minutes for question answer session only. Your questions will be of great value to me.
Sir, can I ask one more question?
Oh, yes.
For project assignment, we are talking about jigsaw method.
Yeah.
Usually at our institution, we try to give that choice to the student, because the student also needs to explore the compatibility and professionalism.
Yeah.
With whom he is compatible and what is its topic of research.
Yeah.
Which one is whatever we as a teacher assigning is best, or let the student explore, because it is one way of experiential learning for him about interpersonal and intrapersonal skill development. So which one do you suggest?
Very good question. Major project which is there in the 4th year, let the students decide.
Yeah, we do
Besides that, in some of the courses, problem-oriented courses, you can also give mini projects. For example, VLSI design, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, structural engineering, right? So CAD/CAM, production engineering, right? So like that, power electronics. So these are some of the courses wherein you can also give mini project for each course with carrying a weightage of 20%. So that is possible. That is not possible when it is versus an affiliated college. You have to follow continuous and comprehensive assessment as per the university guidelines. But once you become autonomous college, that the implementation of many projects is considered to be the best way. IIIT Hyderabad has many projects for many of their courses. That will be there is an advantage. When you give mini project to a particular course, then COPO mapping will be wonderful, because by mini project they can achieve self-learning and lifelong learning, collaboration and teamwork if it is a group project, critical thinking and problem solving, research-related skills, collaboration and teamwork, some 6 to 7 general program outcomes. Now, in the revised guidelines, NBA has given 11 program outcomes. Only environment and sustainability is removed, and it is mixed with India, this college and the world. So with that, it is mixed. 11 program outcomes are there. Out of 10 program outcomes, if you give many projects, 6 to 7 program outcomes, you can mark mapping with a 3 in the box. And the NBA team or NAC team, when they visit, they will be extremely happy when you implement project-based learning. For that, for many of these things, yours must become autonomous college. Please suggest as my advice to your principal, right? So my suggestion is, I am surprised to see that your college is an affiliated college, right?
Yeah, your observations have also been heard by the authorities, sir. They were also there in the session.
It richly deserves autonomous college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no more questions, please. Any questions? Sir, we would be sharing your email ID with the faculty participants.
Oh yes.
So they have a direct access to you. We have also shared your YouTube channel to them. So they browse through the videos. And definitely we will be in touch with you, sir. And we extremely thank you on behalf of the college, the IQAC, and each and every department faculty member for sparing your time. And it was really a very enlightening, enriching, and eye-opener session, sir. And many of the faculty have really come to know what are the different learning strategies. I think part transformation has taken place here itself for them. And definitely we'll be pursuing this further, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So with your permission, I'm ending the session, sir.
Oh yes.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Oh, yes.